Hello Internet, welcome to Games That Time Forgot. It's October here. And finally, I'm allowed to record the review I've wanted to do since this game came out. 2012's Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Put out by THQ and Relic Entertainment with the blessing of Games Workshop. This game had two major hurdles to jump over. First and foremost, it had to be entertaining, which, as we've seen on this show, is fairly difficult. And number two, it had to introduce players into a world that has been building for over 20 years, various authors in various forms of media, including tabletop games, card games, role-playing games, novels, audio dramas, radio plays, one terrible movie nobody really likes to talk about, as well as a fan-made film that's coming out soon that you can see the trailer for by clicking on the little box here. Furthermore, if you want a good sort of treetops observation of the history of 40k, click on the link that is now to the left of the screen. That'll take you to Teri's videos about Warhammer 40,000 covering both the Imperium of Mankind and the Orks to a scary, way too knowledgeable depth. Seriously, the videos are great. Also, you'll find a link to our Geek and Sundry vlogs slightly under this balloon. No, seriously, it's okay. You can open it in another tab and it's cool. I'll wait. Welcome back! So, let's run you through the plot really quick. You're stepping into the ginormous boots and power armor of Captain Titus of the 2nd Company Ultramarines. He's leading his men against the Orkish hordes as they attack Graia, trying to take back the Manufactorum for the Imperium of Man. Along the way, he'll meet an Inquisitor who possibly has a means of destroying the Orkish hordes en masse. But sinister forces cloud everything. Evil laugh! Evil laugh! Okay, so actually it's the Chaos Marines. You'll have help in this from Sidonis, the grizzled sergeant, and Leandros, the newbie who won't shut up about the Codex Astartes. You just want to punch the guy. You're going to want to, for most of the game. You'll also get occasional help from Lieutenant Mira and the Cadian Imperial Guard. Granted, they mostly serve as cannon fodder or points to secure in a very linear path through the game. It's still impressive to see Captain Titus and Sidonis, at least, giving compliments to the Imperial Guard for having survived against the Orks for as long as they have. If you pick up the servo skulls throughout the game, you'll get an idea of just what surviving an Orkish takes. It's not for the faint of heart, and they do a good job of bringing this across throughout the game. You see the fear in the men's eyes, and also their relief as the closest thing to the God Emperor of Mankind comes strolling in, paying them compliments, and giving them respect. That's one of the things that I absolutely adored about this game. Mark Strong's vocal work as Captain Titus puts across the feeling that he is a father to his men and fully aware of the responsibilities his existence places upon him. The combat is good. Switching between ranged combat and melee, the way to replenish your health is through executing enemies with either a chainsword, a power axe, or the almighty thunder hammer, which I found fairly limiting, since it only allows you to use your regulation bolter, bolt pistol, kraken bolter, or plasma gun if you're like me and just like burning things. The second not so easy but kind of fun way is to enter Fury mode, wherein you move faster, hit harder, and still take damage throughout, but you do regain your health. Power armor regenerates naturally. Think of it sort of like a shield if you don't exactly know 40k lore. The power weapons feel different from the normal bolter weapons, and the melee combat is its own distinct beast. And gaining an understanding of each is imperative because the flow of combat changes drastically from enemy to enemy. The waves of orcs will eventually overrun you and you'll have to switch to melee, whereas you can take your time and pick off some of the more scattered elements of the orcs, and you'll definitely have to take your time going up against the other villains who are obvious in this game, the Chaos Marines. Going back to the themes of the games, you have Order represented by the Imperium of Man, and Chaos represented by the Orks and the aptly named Chaos Marines. The Imperium of Man represents order, but order taken to such a point that it stagnates. Everyone is afraid to step outside the rules and guidelines of their lives. Most of all the Space Marines, who have the Codex Astartes. Granted, if you are a 40k fan, I realize you have the Black Templars, the Space Wolves, and various other chapters of Space Marines who kind of thumb their nose at it, but you're dealing with the Ultramarines here, and their Primarch wrote the damn thing. I mention this mostly because it comes into play a lot within the plot of the game, and it's one of the themes of the books that originally got me into Warhammer to begin with. The Imperium of Mankind, including the Imperial Guard and the Space Marines, have stagnated into a World War I type of warfare. They're crippled by a theocratic state, wherein questioning anything, even being able to improve upon it, is listed as heresy and can result in execution. I mentioned before, that one of the things Space Marine tries to do is introduce new players into a long-standing universe. And it does it very well. I've used this game as a vector to introduce my friends into Warhammer 40,000, be it to follow it up with books or gameplay itself. And it's done very well. It's not only an enjoyable science fiction game, it's not only an enjoyable third-person brawler shooter, it's also a great introduction to one of the most expansive and engrossing fandoms in existence for my money. For fans of the universe, this game is a 10 out of 10. It's beautiful. This was a game made with care for the fans, new and old, and it's a shame that THQ folded and the trilogy died at one game. For newbies, for new fans or people just interested in a good brawler, this game is a 9 out of 10. The combat is the best I've had in years, and it's consistent and fluid, and it just feels right. You feel every blow you land with the melee weapons, and the guns sound the way they should. The bolters sound like miniature automatic rocket launchers. The las cannons and the plasma guns sound right. Even the newly introduced Vengeance launcher, it feels like it should. As usual, I don't have a catchphrase, but this game for me is a must-play. Go out and find it. You can get it online for around $40. You can get it used for about $20. For games that time forgot, I'm October. Still lack a catchphrase. Later, people of Earth.